The United National Party Parliamentary Group met with party leader Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today. A 5-member committee comprising of Ministers Akila Viraj Karyavasam, Thalatha Atukorala and Mangala Samravira has been appointed to discuss future measures.
The meeting was held at Temple Trees this afternoon. Following the meeting, few of the MPs spoke to the media. Talks were held yesterday morning as well as last night. So I believe the required amendments will be made and an atmosphere where we can face UNPs once again will be created.
We mainly discussed on running the government in the future. We will run this government the way it is. The people have to think for a moment as to why so many people are itching to chase away Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. One of our faithful channels were broadcasting live all day and night with 4 gentlemen in suit and tie along with a monk without having eaten all day. Now starting tomorrow, those at Sirasa will mercilessly attack me. My mouth has no brakes. It is a problem I have. So yes, Sirasa will start attacking me tomorrow and it is alright. You may be doing it knowingly or unknowingly. But through what you are doing, you are strengthening a group who murdered 36 journalists, killed a rugby player and shot at protests.
For
us, good evening to you. Good evening to our viewers.
Yes, good evening. So, Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake is a person who's very vocal about corruption.
Yes, indeed.
In the country.
He has been speaking about the corruption in the country. He was revealing and exposing certain malpractices of UNPers themselves, especially in the Dulapiti area. We remember how the minister came forward and spoke about a situation with regard to a walking path. He was very vocal. And for us, because of being this way in the United National Party, within the party, Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake was asked to, or he was removed from his Dulapiti electorate organizer post as well. He is now at a situation where he might even lose the Dulapiti electorate as a whole. That is where Ranjan Ramanayake is at the moment, because he has been a person who has been very vocal about things.
Yeah.
Now, for us, let me...
sorry, can
yes, sure.
Make live, ne?
That's what he asked from a cameraman.
Those were the exact words when he made sure that he wanted to know whether it was live. Well, this is certainly live. So
yes. For us, and also the Deputy Minister seems to have lost count of who was standing here yesterday and presenting this program to say what has happened to the United National Party and the political crisis. There were 6 people here instead of now the Deputy Minister is speaking about 4 people. There were 6 people here, and I myself was also there in the studio.
Right, yes.
So the Deputy Minister has, or someone has informed him incorrectly, or the Deputy Minister has lost count of what's happening.
I've always maintained that this particular segment of government simply can't add up. They have difficulty in adding up, and numbers never add up. So this minister is also, Deputy Minister is also reflective of that.
Now for us, the UNP and the problem here that we have been discussing yesterday, now we are discussing right now as well, though it seems very complex, it's a very simple question for
Absolutely right, Chaturanga. The UNP crisis is a crisis of leadership. It's a leadership crisis. That's the problem here. Since 1994, the problems happened when, unfortunately, President Premadasa was assassinated. And ever since, we've had, at the UNP, a leadership crisis.
Now, speaking about leadership for us, Ranjan Ramanayake has been the Deputy Minister, Honourable Deputy Minister, has been a person, as we mentioned earlier, who was speaking very vocally about the corruption in the country. Is there a place for young leaders in the United National Party with whatever is happening there?
Well, it's very clear that there is the future for young people at the United National Party, for the youth, is very bleak indeed. Because we can see since 1994, there is no apparent successor line at the United National Party. There's Mr. Wickremesinghe, and Mr. Wickremesinghe. And there's plenty of talent down there. But unfortunately, the way things are going, it's about time, and I think the young people at the United National Party who are just starting on their political journey have already come to realize that.
For us now, we the people of this country do not have faith or trust in the politicians because of one reason. They do not seem to be sticking to their words. Now, this incident, what we just heard Ranjan Ramanayake, Deputy Minister, saying, this could also be a part of a script, a part of a drama.
Well, yes, because we must remember that the Deputy Minister is actually an actor. You know, he's an actor.
He is asking why this particular channel, our network, is trying to muster support to the people who assassinated journalists, killed rugby player Wasim Tajuddin, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
We have to ask the same question from them, or in the contrary, rather than mustering support, we are asking a question from the government as to why they are not taking any action with regard to these people. Even Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake is part of this very government who has to and will have to take action regarding this.
We have an abiding interest in, for example, the killing of, the unlawful killing of our friend and a brilliant journalist, Lasantha Wickrematunge. We really like to know what's happening there.
Definitely. For us, Ranjan Ramanayake said what he said today.
Yeah.
But in the past, what has he said? This is what he had said. Let's have a look.
Over 6.2 million people voted for Mahinda Rajapaksa and his family members to be brought before the law and see them imprisoned. And that task was given to us. But rather than doing that, we did other things. And this is the punishment we got. These matters have been investigated and finished. But when the CID is proceeding ahead, a certain bigwig has made 61 calls preventing them from taking any action. A certain cabinet minister had made 31 calls to the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into large-scale fraud and corruption during their investigation on Avantgarde.
No one had the backbone to come out against the murderer, the thug back then. Who took that risk? It was Maithripala Sirisena, the Honourable President. You cannot forget the past and exploit a person and be ungrateful thereafter. This is the bitter truth spoken by Ranjan Ramanayake. If there were bond thieves in our party, I am a person who spoke about that as well. Honourable Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake, in his voice cut to the media today, pointed out at us and he said, we venerate and pray that Sirisa will stop doing this. We also have a request, a plea from the Deputy Minister. We venerate and pray that you, the Deputy Ministers, the members of the United National Party who is representing the Parliament, will get their act right. And if someone is, we do not know whether the Deputy Minister was part of this 16-member group that went and met the Prime Minister yesterday, earlier on in the day, but if someone in the United National Party, be it the leadership, be it down the line, if someone is trying to play around with the people's confidence, the mandate that was provided by the people, that is completely unacceptable for us.
They ought to stop acting and they ought to start behaving in a real way.
Now for us, with all that is happening, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party has sent a letter to the President of this country, and the letter is about the position of the Prime Minister, the post of the Prime Minister and the establishment of the government.
Yes.
Now the letter says for us that the consensus government was established for 2 years and that the tenure of this government, or the MOU, has elapsed.
And the letter also says that key ministries in the government were led by the United National Party under the leadership of the Prime Minister.
Now, though the SLFP members of the government were not in complete agreement with the decisions that were taken, they had to respect the collective responsibility as members of the government.
Indeed.
The letter also says that it is not a secret that major corruption, like the bond scam, has taken place with the Prime Minister being aware of it.
Indeed. And the SLFP says that the party cannot agree on the fact that the Prime Minister is still holding the position after the number of votes they received.
Now for us, the letter says, the SLFP says the party believes that a new government should be established after appointing a Prime Minister who can win the confidence of the people and the majority in Parliament. Now this letter, the SLFP is requesting the President's approval to get this task done through the UPFA. Now for us, yesterday was a busy day for the United National Party members, the members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, the President himself, as well as for another group. That group for us was the joint opposition members, or the members who were supporting the Podujana Peramuna. They also convened at the Vijayarama residence of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and was having a meeting. Now we know that, we know what happened yesterday. We know that the UNP had a meeting and then they went to meet the President and only the cabinet members were welcomed. All of that. Right after the UNP cabinet ministers came out from the President's residence, we saw another group going in, and that was the people who were representing the Podujana Peramuna. All of this boils down to the President and the decision that the President is making for us.
Indeed.
Today, this morning, the members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party also went and met with the President and held discussions. While they were coming out, they had this to say to the media.
President Maithripala Sirisena called SLFP MPs for a meeting following the conclusion of the cabinet meeting this morning. Everyone came to the stance that they would remain with the President as the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. We will take the required course of action regarding this decision within the next 48 hours. If anyone wishes to challenge us, we are ready to accept it. We remain at the same decision as before. There is no change in that. Within the next 24 to 48 hours, the President will make an announcement to the country. We are acting based on that. None of us will join them. There is nothing of that sort. All 41 of us are working together. No, we won't. We have no other place to go except the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.